Alright, it's September the 10th. We're back to work on the Sputterbutt. We've had a lot of projects going. One, you can see back in the background, we've been erected a barn so that we can put the boat in the barn and get it out of the weather. It stays in the weather year round. One of the things we're doing today is we're putting a new axle under it. We bought this axle that is worth about $300 new. We got it for $40 from our next door neighbor, Terry and Joyce. They were really nice about it. They knew it was worth more, but they sold it to us cheap. One of the problems we have here is right now I have the boat kind of jacked up. This is about the space we need right here. But if I let the jack down, it's going to sit right down on the wheel. This boat is just too heavy for this single axle. We're going to turn it into a tandem axle trailer. Also, you can see right here the spring shackle is almost straight up and down. It's leaning a little bit to the rear of the boat, and that's how it should be right there. But that's with the weight off of it. If I let the jack down, you can see how low the boat sits on the wheel, and the spring shackle is just too far to the rear. So we're going to put another axle on, and it should carry the boat just fine. We bought a spring mounting kit, and I think we only paid $50 for this. This is the hardware that came with the spring kit. We've got to weld all these brackets on, and these are stabilizers, the bag of nuts and bolts, and the spring shackles. I expect this to take us a day, and that's to take a grinder and cut the old spring attachments off and weld these on.
You can't just weld an extra axle up under the trailer if you're going to turn a single axle trailer into a tandem axle trailer, because the springs have to be balanced. You've got to take them both off, and they have to be spaced right. If we just put the new axle either in front of or behind the old axle, then the tongue weight wouldn't be right, and it wouldn't track right, and it wouldn't tow right. But you have to have these stabilizers in there, and the springs mount on either side of this, and then this mounts to the trailer frame, and it keeps it balanced. This pivots here so that as you go over bumps and stuff, the axles stay balanced. It doesn't bounce your boat off, and the load's not all on one axle. If you don't have these and you hit a bump, all your load is still on one axle, and you could break an axle, break a spindle, and that's what we're trying to avoid by adding another axle. So the other axle would be just a big false sense of security if you didn't put the stabilizers on. We have recently discovered these spray cans of truck bed liner. They sell it at Walmart. I don't know, it's like $6 or $8 a can, and it works really good for frame coating. We coated a couple of trailers with it, and we're going to use that on our boat axles. And this winter we might even jack the boat up off the trailer and paint it with the truck bed coating. It stays on good, it's thick, it has kind of a texture, which is good when you're not working with new metal. You know, it's got some rust and stuff on it. It would be crazy to try and polish these old axles until they've got no rust left on them. And the truck bed coating sticks to the rust, it covers the rust, it'll stop it from rusting more, and it makes it look much better. So that stuff works really good, like I said, for frames, trailer frames, and axles, and you know, all that kind of stuff. And it's not that expensive. That one can will coat both of our axles.
Alright, our stabilizer is going to go right in this area, which is the center of the axle now. Once we get this axle off, we'll be able to take off this 2-inch by 2-inch piece of 1/8 steel we put on it, because it'll have 2 axles to support it now. So I just got to knock the bolts out and drop the axle down.
We've been working on our axle project for about 4 or 5 hours today, and we managed to get all of our brackets measured out and hung up here. And this equalizer, the shackles have to be overslung on this one. That means they're pointed up, and they have to be pointed out 1 inch from the center. And we wanted to just tack these in place and make sure we had that right. And as it turned out, what I did, you can see the wide white marks here, is I measured, this was 8 inches, and then I took the measurements off of our old brackets and just added 4 inches to each one of them. Well, I forgot about this 1 inch that these had to be out, so we ended up having to move both of our end brackets here out 1 inch so that we had this 1 inch. And, you know, it shouldn't really take you 4 or 5 hours to mount a set of springs on a trailer. But when you have to cut off the old brackets and you're working underneath a trailer that has a boat on it, not on a brand new trailer that's flipped upside down on a jig and stuff, it's going to take a little longer. And if you've got a boat that you've been working on, especially a pontoon boat, a lot of people turn them into houseboats, and your trailer won't support your boat anymore, anybody can do this. We ordered the kit off of eBay, and Bret said it was $50. I actually think it was $38. It had the new brackets, it had the shackles, it had all the bolts, it had the equalizer, and then all we had to do was just mount it up. And it's not really that hard to figure how wide it has to be. Just remember to add in that inch there, because I forgot it, and we actually had to cut these loose and move them out. We figured it out before we welded the other side. We're also going to replace all these U-bolts, because on our new used axle, this one here is stripped out. So we're just going to go ahead and replace all of them on the old axle and the new axle. Now, we found new tires with rims at Walmart. You do have to order them. They don't have them in stock in the store, but you can get 2 tires with rims for like $113. So we're getting 4 new tires and 4 new rims. We didn't have any at all to go with our new axle, but our old ones were in pretty bad shape. The rims looked awful. One of the tires was losing air all the time. The other one was scrubbed all off, because if you remember, we had to straighten this axle because it had been bent before we bought the boat. So we needed new ones anyway. We're also packing all the bearings. And they should last for years and years and years. You know, we shouldn't have to do anything else to this trailer probably the rest of our lives, except maybe pack the bearings. And normally a tandem trailer would have a bigger wheel and tire on it than what we have, but because this is a pontoon trailer, we can only use small tires. And they're actually a 10-inch tire. So what we're going to have is we're going to have a big space in between our tires. And that's not going to affect us at all when we're pulling it, but we're thinking it might make it a little difficult to back. We don't know. We'll let you know when we get the tires. We haven't ordered them yet. I'll be ordering them probably tomorrow. So when we get them and we try to back it, we'll let you know how it backs. But if it's a little difficult to back, I guess we'll just have to learn to work around it.
We finally got our new tires and wheels for the trailer. Got them on both sides. And we just don't have anything left to do except Becky's going to make some curtains for the windows, and we're going to hit the lake. So that'll be coming up next week.